but Pumsaha of the person, Paramasya, the Supreme, Maya, by the material energy, Turantaya, of great potency, Asprishta, unaffected, Matihi, intelligence, Samastatra, seer, or knower of everything, Daya, by the same illusory energy, Hatha Atmasu, bewildered at heart, Anukarma Chetasu, whose hearts are attracted by fruitive activities, Anugraham, mercy, Kartum, to do, Iha, in this case, desire, O Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Please repeat the translation. My dear Lord, you are never bewildered by the formidable influence of the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are omniscient and should be merciful and compassionate toward those who are bewildered by the same illusory energy and are very much attached to fruitive activities. Please hear the word. A Vaishnava is never bewildered by the influence of the external energy because he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. The Lord states in Bhagavad Gita 7:14, Daiviyesha Dulamai, Mama Maya Durateya, Mam Evaye Prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. My divine energy, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond. A Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered by this Maya instead of becoming angry with them. A Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered by this Maya instead of becoming angry with them. Because without a Vaishnava's mercy, they have no way to get out of the clutches of Maya. Those who have been condemned by Maya are rescued by the mercy of devotees. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desire of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Those who are under the influence of the illusory energy are attracted to fruitive activities, but a Vaishnava preacher attracts their hearts to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. I think this is Maharaj's message to us for Tirupati. Such a nice verse for you. Very nice. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakshya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Bhagavadapayam Dadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Priyatapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaruprathanvitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Sapadutam Shri Janasetam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Vishnapada Saganalalita Shri Vishakhanascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Premadaite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurabhishe Namaha Vanchakalpalubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastasi Gaurotavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This verse is actually about Brahma trying to satisfy Lord Shiva, and that is the title of the chapter. And you all know that Brahmaji is trying to satisfy Lord Shiva because he was very upset with Daksha, and he had actually chopped off the head of Daksha. Actually, he did that through the agency of Veerabhadra. So Lord Shiva tolerated Daksha like anything. We also know that. Because before this, at the beginning of these verses and the chapter, you will find that even though Daksha was the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, Prabhupada makes it very clear in Bhagavatam that Lord Shiva's position is much higher than Daksha. So one point we have to take from this point is that in material world, we are very often thinking that because maybe we are longer in something, we should be more senior. But Daksha looked a bit older, and he was Prajapati, but he forgot that Lord Shiva is actually in a unique category. Lord Shiva is above all living entities, and he has his own tattva, and he is considered to be the greatest of Vaishnavas. Vaishnava yatha shambho. So he did not want to accept the position of his son-in-law because he is very envious of him. This envy is the greatest impediment for us to see things clearly. Forget about devotional service. If we can't even see things clearly before us, then we are always bewildered. So in this verse, very nicely it is stated, Brahmaji says that the first qualification of Lord Shiva is that because he is devotee of the Lord, he is not bewildered by the formidable energy of Krishna, which is known as the illusory energy. This illusory energy in the world is very strong, and that's why Prabhupada quotes 7:14 to say that this is very, very difficult to cross over. Very difficult. Why? Because when we are not with Krishna, then automatically we have to be with Maya. There is no middle category for us. You are either with Krishna or you are not with Krishna. And sometimes because we are not pure devotees, so we cannot always be with Krishna. And that is why, because we are not always with Krishna, our devotional activities are tinged with the fruitive activities. So sometimes we come to Krishna with so many different motives. But good thing Maharaj told us is, even if we have material motives, better we come to Krishna. Don't go anywhere else. That's why that verse in 2:3:10 is important. Our karma, right? Yeah. That is very important. It doesn't matter which position we are in. Whether we have karma, we have no karma, or we want moksha, and that is our desire. In any of these situations, Shukadeva Goswami establishes, somehow or another, Tivrena Bhakti Yogi, we must be 100% like an arrow. We should be directed towards the lotus feet of Krishna. But here the situation is slightly complicated. Because even though Lord Shiva is so exalted, when Daksha wanted to have the sacrifice, you know that Lord Shiva was actually invited. In the first sacrifice he was invited. But after being invited, when everyone stood up to receive Daksha, Lord Shiva remained seated. He remained seated for two reasons. One, actually he was very absorbed in remembering Krishna, because that is his first occupation. Even when Lord Shiva is sitting down in Mount Kailash, we know he's under a tree, but his eyes are always closed and he's meditating on the form of Lord as Sankarshan. So he's very absorbed with Krishna. But because he was absorbed with Krishna, he did not see anything external. Second thing also is, he is actually much more exalted than his father-in-law. So there was no need for him to stand. And Lord Shiva is such a great Vaishnava that he can offer obeisances from him in his heart. And still, the obeisances are considered genuine. These are great personalities. But Daksha took it all very wrongly. He thought, already he was envious. He did not like the fact that his daughter Sati was actually married to Lord Shiva. But you know, when father-in-law doesn't like son-in-law, he has to tolerate first because of his daughter. But when he finds the chance he will definitely try to criticize. And he found the chance here. So when he saw everyone stood up, his pride became very strong. And this is the result of bewilderment. When we are bewildered by the illusory energy of Krishna, even if we are devotees, Maharaj told us the first symptom of bewilderment is pride. We can't take it if someone doesn't offer respect to us. If someone even acts as if he's not offering respect, we immediately take it that he's not offering respect. We don't check in our hearts that he's offering respect. Why 1,000 times he has to bow? I am nothing after all. I am one of the devotees. I am also struggling. We don't think that way. So when devotees don't think that way, we become puffed up. Then we take offense. Someone doesn't greet us, we take offense. Someone doesn't speak to us nicely, we take offense. Someone is a bit harsh with us, we take offense. All this offense taking is because of bewilderment. And Daksha, that's why he took offense. Otherwise, you see, when Parikshit Maharaj put the garden of snake on Shamika Rishi did not take offense. Why? Because he was very absorbed in devotional service. That's why Guru Maharaj told us, to take offense, if you feel offended by someone, you need time. You need time to become offended also. But if you are so absorbed in Krishna Katha, if you are so absorbed in holy names, if you are so absorbed in Krishna Seva, where is the time to feel offended? You just say, forget about it. Let's move on. This is how the great Vaishnavas are. During Prabhupada's time in this world, you saw that Prabhupada had no time to take offense. So many God brothers, they offended Prabhupada because of envy. Many of them. I was reading today Leelamrita, and Prabhupada was in Visakhapatnam, and he went to Simhachal. Sometimes I forget, that actually Prabhupada went to Simhachal. He went there with his devotees and all. He came back. Now in Visakhapatnam and in Madras, now Chennai, one God brother of his wrote him a very bad letter. Very bad letter. In that letter, he was asking him these questions. That, Swamiji, I am actually doubting that you are a great devotee. Then he listed all the things about Prabhupada. He said, one, why your disciples are dancing like Chaitanya? Is it because they really have the mood of Chaitanya? Second, why you have taken the name Bhaktivedanta? Why you have taken the name Prabhupada? Do you think you are qualified? Third, he asks, why is it that you are spreading these words to all the villages? Have you the authority and purity to do that? Then fourth, why you are wearing a wristwatch? Why you are wearing gold ring? I thought you renounced. Why you are doing this? Then he ended up by saying, disgusted with your behavior, your servant, so and so. He wrote this letter to Prabhupada. It's there, we can read it actually. It shows, how bewildered people are. And he was such an elevated personality, so called. But this is the exact mood that Daksha was with Lord Shiva. Just trying to find the fault. Why is Tilak is not like that? Why is this? Why is that? This is the mood of one who is bewildered. So when we are bewildered, the cousin of bewilderment is pride. So when we think we are very great, then we are in trouble. Even if we have to check someone, we are checking them only on the basis of authority given to us by higher authority. That's all. Guru can check disciples. And in our society, Prabhupada said, whoever is the authority in temple, in Namahata, in Bhakti Vriksha, they have the authority to check. No one else has the authority. And even when they check, they don't check because they are bewildered. They check because it is their service to check. If we have that mood that we are serving someone to check, then those who are told also, they don't get offended. But Daksha became very angry with Lord Shiva. So in front of all the assembly, he spoke very harsh words. In Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is known as Parushya. Very harsh words. He said that Lord Shiva is like a monkey. He described him as a monkey. He said that he is like a beggar who puts ashes from the crematorium. And he sits around and behaves like a madman. And this kind of man does not deserve my daughter. And he said that all of you can get the result of the sacrifice, but he will not get the result of sacrifice. And that was the starting point of his fall down actually. And even though at that point of time, so much problems happened, what did Lord Shiva do? Lord Shiva tolerated. Nandi and all his followers, they counteracted and acted and counteracted. But Lord Shiva, he walked away from the assembly. His head was bowed and he just walked away. This is Vaishnava. He was not offended because it concerned him. It did not concern anyone else. So if someone criticizes us, we don't criticize them back. Because who are we? We should feel genuinely that we are there to serve them. That's why Prabhupada writes in the purport, a Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered. We understand when people criticize people, when they behave in a bad way, when they behave like they don't want Krishna consciousness, instead of becoming angry with them, we should actually have compassion for them. That is very important. Bhudai akamyamanapi, dhiro, daivo, vasanudai. This is very important. Tadvidvan na chadu marga. This is the lesson that the Guru, right? The Guru of the tree. Who is that? Bhumidevi. Bhumidevi's lesson in Bhagavatam. Why? Because Bhagavatam tells us, Bhudai akramyamanapi. Without exception, every living entity is being harassed by the three modes of deviation. Why? Because Daiviyesha Gurumai Mama Maya Duragya. This Maya is very powerful. So it is very difficult actually to cross this ocean. Very, very difficult. Very hard. So that's why Krishna has said very nicely here in 7:14 that only those who are surrendered to Him can cross it. So we have to be very careful here. Our first duty is, instead of becoming angry with devotees, instead of becoming angry with living entities who are already angry, we should become calm. What should we do? We should understand, number one, that they are harassed. It is not their fault. They are trying, but even then they cannot control. Have we all been in a situation where we say, I want to wake up for Mangalarti, I want to wake up for Mangalarti. Mangalarti comes, we sleep. We want to. We try. Have we been in a situation where we want to actually do nice seva, but the heart is very weak because of aparad and all this thing? Many times it happens. So Brahma is telling Lord Shiva, Lord, you are a great exalted personality. Daksha somehow or another is so offensive that because of him Sati had to die. That is why in the first round, Lord Shiva did not counteract. But when Sati left her body, because she could not take the insults that her father was giving on her husband, then Lord Shiva acted. Then he sent Veerabhadra. Then Veerabhadra cut off the head of Daksha. So Vaishnava never gets angry with those who are angry with him. But he will not stand when someone else is being criticized who is a Vaishnava. We have to balance this very carefully. If we hear someone talking about another devotee, we should not accept it. We should stand up. Of course, in this day and age, we can't kill someone. But we can kill them with sastra. We can defeat them with sastra. But this guy, now that he had already chopped off the head, now Daksha is Prajapati. Whatever it is, he is also a great personality. Maybe he was bewildered. But what to do now? So Brahma, he goes to Lord Shiva. Because Brahma himself is a great devotee of the Lord. So one devotee of the Lord goes to another devotee of the Lord. And he tells him, please, O Lord, you just do one thing. The energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very powerful. Very powerful. But you do one thing. Devotees are not bewildered. And therefore, please be kind. And that's why Prabhupada writes very important point. A Vaishnava should take care of those who are bewildered by this Maya instead of becoming angry with them. Anger is only one letter away from danger. Maharaj told us that. If you put D, it becomes danger. But if you take out D, it is anger. But anger is always dangerous. We cannot, as devotees who are struggling in Krishna consciousness, we have to be very careful when we get angry. Very often when we are angry about something, we are actually attached to it. Attachment and anger, A and A. Sometimes we are attached to pride. So if someone criticizes us, we become angry because we think we are very, very good. This is what happened to Daksha. So Brahma is telling Lord Shiva, why you must become like Daksha also. Right? This is what is happening. Maharaj always told us this point. If a dog bites the man doesn't bite the dog, isn't it? When a dog bites the man doesn't turn around and bite the dog. No. Because if the man bites the dog, where is the difference between the dog and the man? Then it's the same thing. So now Brahmaji is saying, where is the difference between you and Daksha? If you are not kind to him because he was not kind to you, then you are the same as him. This is the point he's saying. And that's why this point is very important. This way of becoming bewildered is only coming, Bhagavatam tells us, it only comes because there is no transcendental knowledge. If there is transcendental knowledge in our hearts, then Bhagavatam tells us this transcendental knowledge will stop this whirlpool of material desires and activities. I think the verse is in 2nd canto, 3rd chapter, it is in the 12th verse. So there the translation is very nice. In the translation, Shukadeva Goswami says, transcendental knowledge must be in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari. That is why we are seated here, Prabhu. We are seated here so that we can hear about Hari. This hearing about Hari has to be the starting point to stop the anger in the heart. That is first point. Second thing that's very important. The moment that we start hearing the knowledge about Krishna, then one thing will happen. Whatever waves and whirlpools of material moves, it is known as Gunomichakra. Gunomichakra. Any kind of whirlpool of all kinds of material desires and fruitive activities and disturbances in our hearts, they will go. How will they go? They go because of the power of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And that is why we have to hear Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita regularly. Not only should we hear, but we should study. Daksha did not have this transcendental knowledge because he was very caught up in his business of Prajapati and he was very fruitive. He was always looking for external results. But Lord Shiva is a devotee. Lord Shiva was always glorifying Krishna and he's always remembering Krishna from Bhagavatam. That is why he is a great personality. And those who hear about Krishna, then the suspension of these material modes immediately they come. And when they come, this knowledge becomes what we call Atma Prasad. Atma Prasad means self-satisfied. We don't wait for others to satisfy us in bhakti. If you always come to Krishna consciousness expecting temple president must satisfy me, Prasanna Prabhu must satisfy me, Aniketan Prabhu must satisfy me, someone must do this for me, someone must do that for me, I must get this, I must get that, if not I am not satisfied, then this satisfaction is external. But Bhagavatam satisfaction is that we can sit one person or maybe few of us and we can hear Bhagavatam, we can practice Bhagavatam and we become fully satisfied. Atma Prasad. Atma Prasad. So many times Maharaj told us that even if there is no temple, even if we have to sit under a tree, still we can become Atma Prasad. Why? Because we have Bhagavatam. No one can take Bhagavatam from us. Collector cannot take Bhagavatam from us. Ruda cannot take Bhagavatam from us. They can take everything else, but they cannot take Bhagavatam from us. So those who take up this Krishna consciousness, Bhagavatam tells us, they become self-satisfied. And when they become self-satisfied, then Bhagavatam says, they become free of material attachment. This is the benefit of transcendental knowledge. And that's why this Atma Prasad, that's why this Atma Prasad verse is extremely important. And if we don't want to become bewildered by material nature, then we must become fixed up in transcendental knowledge. But Maharaj told us another thing. Reading and studying is one thing, but to practice it and realize it is another. And that can only be done in the association of devotees. And this verse confirms it. When Daksha's head was cut by Veerabhadra, Lord Shiva did not want to take any other action to restore Daksha, because he was still upset, because he had lost Sati. But Brahmaji came to speak to Lord Shiva. Maharaj told us in this chapter, Brahmaji did not just come to give prayers to Lord Shiva. He actually came to give sadhu sangha to Lord Shiva. This is a very important point. Whenever a devotee comes to another devotee and praises him and prays to him as he does in Bhagavatam, Maharaj told us that is actually giving him sadhu sangha. When Brahmaji gave sadhu sangha to Lord Shiva and told him, my dear Lord, please, you understand that whatever has happened is only because of the fact that Daksha is bewildered. You must first accept that. So be kind to him, don't be angry with him. This is very, very important point. And the moment he said that, that's why Prabhupada writes in the purport that a Vaishnava's mercy is more important than his anger. A Vaishnava's anger is very, very powerful. Hanumanji's anger literally almost raised all of Lanka. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is more stronger in Kali Yuga. That is why in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada says this very important point is given, that we should just simply give the holy name. We should not criticize, and there's no need for us to get angry. And this is such an important point. Who does not become bewildered in this material world? Everyone is bewildered at some point. But if you read Bhagavatam, another nice verse that Maharaj liked is in the 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 10th verse. In this verse, Vidura is asking a nice question, and Maitreya is giving a nice point. Devasya maya sprishta ye charya asa ashritaha brahmyate dina vakya atmani uktam manoharo. And the verse translation is very nice. There it is nicely stated, under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls. So even though bewildered persons, they have this habit of harassing the living entities, but those who are fully surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna, their intelligence is never deviated. They are never deviated. That's why the pure devotees are reservoirs for shelter. Because even though we are struggling in devotional service, the only way for us not to be deviated, or even if we become deviated, to keep coming back to Krishna, the only way is to always take sadhu sangha of the surrendered souls. And what is the symptom of the surrendered soul? Given in the purport. They are never angry with us. They are very, very patient with us. And even though we may commit so many mistakes, they are very cultured in the way they treat us. I was reading all the Bhagavad Saptaha lectures of Maharaj in Sydney, and there was one point that I was just reading before I came. Maharaj gave this nice story of how Vaishnavas are cultured. And he said there was this sadhu, he was very tired and very old. So he was walking through a village, and suddenly, some people saw that he was really old. So one businessman came with his horse and gave the sadhu the horse and said, "Sadhu, you take the horse. At least it's easier for you to move." So sadhu said, "All right, I'll take the horse." The moment he took the horse, as he was passing by, one thief, he saw the horse, and he said, "This is a nice horse." So he thought, now how to take the horse from the sadhu? So he thought, I'll behave like I'm a lame man and I cannot move. So he moved ahead of the horse, and in the middle of the road he stopped, like a lame man. And he started shouting, "I'm a lame man, I cannot move, someone help me." Now when the sadhu heard him, immediately sadhu got off the horse. Even though he was very old, it was difficult for him, but he got off. And immediately he went to the lame man. The moment he went to a lame man, the thief got up and he jumped on the horse. And he started riding the horse away. Now this sadhu started shouting for the thief. But he did not shout for him to say, "Give me back my horse." We will shout that, but he did not shout that. He said, "You can keep the horse, just stop. You can keep the horse, just stop." So the thief was thinking, okay, I can keep the horse, I don't mind. But I'm curious, I want to know why the sadhu wants me to stop. So he stopped. And when he stopped, the sadhu said, "My dear sir, do one thing. You can keep the horse. Anyway, horse is not my property. It just came and it will go. It's okay. But do one thing. Don't tell people that you behave like a lame man and then you took the horse. Because then those who are really lame, no one will help them. Because you have brought bad name to those who are lame." And Maharaj says there, this is the higher thinking. This is the higher thinking of a devotee. The devotee did not think of the harassment caused to himself. He did not exhibit anger to someone who took something from him. Rather, he told him that if you want to take it, but think of the future. Those who are genuine in their bewilderment in their difficulty, they should not be put into difficulty on your account. This is a very nice point. It's a fine point. But it shows us that a Vaishnava does not get angry because of fruitive activities, material attachments. And neither does he become angry with those who are not hearing him or those who are bewildered. And this is what Prabhuji is saying. So this point is very important. Those who are intelligent, in 3 to 10, the word intelligent means that they are fixed with Krishna. Intelligence means that they are fixed with Krishna. They don't become bewildered. They give sadhu sangha to those who are bewildered, but they don't become bewildered. So Brahmaji is telling him, Lord Shiva, in your association with Daksha, you also have become angry. Because he was angry, and now you were angry with him, but you became angry also. So now please reduce your anger. Be kind to him now. And that is why all the great devotees of the Lord, you see, all of them, instead of being angry, they were always compassionate. I am remembering Narada Muni with Nalakuvera and Manigriva in Damodar Lila. When they came before him naked and drunk, he cursed them. But the curse was not out of anger. The curse was out of compassion. He wanted them to be trees. But then he also wanted that they should take darshan of Krishna. And thousands of years this episode happened before. But Krishna never forgot the compassion of his devotee. And because of the compassion of the devotee, on that platform of his compassion, Krishna then delivered Manigriva and Nalakuvera from being Yamalakshana trees. And if you read the specific verse there, I forget which part, it is in the 10th canto. The translation is very nice. Krishna tells the Yamalakshana trees, Manigriva and Nalakuvera, he says that, actually, frankly speaking, I have nothing to do with you two. Nothing to do with you two. Actually, in one sense, Krishna has everything to do with everyone. We are all coming from him. But what he's saying is, you were not my lookout. But because my devotee Narada prayed for you, it becomes my duty to deliver you. See the compassion. So you find in Bhagavatam so many instances of devotees being compassionate. Mrigari in Chaitanya Charitamrita, his crimes were heinous. And yet Narada did not scold him or curse him. Narada became compassionate to him, preached to him, and changed his heart. Again it was Narada. And you find Prabhupada is probably the best example. Because no matter how much of crazy things the disciples did, Prabhupada always gave them another chance to take up Krishna consciousness. Always did. Yes, he chastised them. Sometimes they had to leave. Sometimes he was very upset with them. But the Vaishnava's compassion is very deep. Sometimes being chastising us. Maharaj very often chastised us. He was very upset with us in many things. But in that chastisement, there was always the motivation to serve us. Not to get something from us. He did not want anything from us. And therefore, whatever he chastised us with was always compassionate. I asked Maharaj once, how will we know if we are being compassionate? And Maharaj said, if you know you are being compassionate, you must always search your heart when you reach out to the person, whether you want something from them. If you want something from them, or if you have a motive, then it is fruitive activity. Then you become bewildered. Then your attempts to check them will result in anger, bewilderment, disillusionment, frustration, and eventually you will leave Krishna consciousness. But if you are really compassionate with them, they will also understand that at the end of the day, this person means well to you. Like the sadhu who told the thief to stop. He did not want the horse. There was no motive. But he just told him, don't bring bad name to people who are genuinely lame. That's it. So the thief could appreciate it. And when he appreciated it, he gave the sadhu back the horse. Because he said, I don't want the horse now. Because you have given me a different perspective to compassion. Ambarish Maharaj waited 1 year for Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni cursed him, right? He actually brought an entity to kill him. All because he broke his fast with a drop of water. That's it. Nothing fancy. Just one drop of water and he became angry. His being angry was not to check Ambarish Maharaj. It was because of pride. He thought, I'm such a great person, he would not respect me. Maharaj told us we should walk into every temple and every congregation. without any expectation that people should respect us. People should honor us. We should always be supporting role. Another word Maharaj used for me, just become a wallpaper. Wallpaper looks very nice when people stand in front of it and take photos. Other than that, nobody cares for a wallpaper. So Maharaj said, true Vaishnavas should become wallpapers. We are in the background. We come, we serve, we support, we are happy with everyone, and we live. In that way, Maharaj said, we become very peaceful in our devotion service. If somebody respects us, Haribol. Somebody doesn't know us, Haribol. It doesn't matter. We are coming for Krishna. We are coming for Guru. We are coming for Prabhupada. There is no need for that. That is the sign of intelligence. And because of that, Ambrish Maharaj, he was not deviated by the bewildered actions of Devakinandan. He didn't become disturbed. Otherwise, he would have fought with Devakinandan. He could have called Sudarshan Chakra. But when you read the 9th canto, you realize when this terrible entity was coming, he did not even pray to Krishna. Krishna, release Sudarshan Chakra now. No, he didn't. And because he didn't, Krishna took the initiative. That's why Maharaj said, when we are under danger or in difficulty, you don't have to worry. Krishna will protect you. Because he knows when to protect us. So Ambrish just stood there. He remembered Krishna. Sudarshan Chakra came. And Sudarshan Chakra chased Devakinandan. He went for Tirtha and Yatra. Right? This is post Yatra. He went first to Brahmaji, then that one didn't turn out. He went to Lord Shiva, that didn't turn out. He went all the way to Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha. And there also it didn't turn out. In fact, Lord Vishnu told him, you got it all wrong. You have to go back now and see him. Because he is greater than me. Why? Because he is more compassionate than me. That's why our prayer is always this prayer that Prabhupada puts here. Vanchatoputra. We pray to the devotees. It's important for us not to take it for granted. Just be Bhana Prabhu, we don't know the meaning, we don't remember the meaning, we don't know why we do it, We just do it because we have to do it. But no, that's not it. That's not it. Maharaj used to get fed up. Maharaj says sometimes devotees look at each other, Prabhu, watch us. And we don't know what we are doing. We don't know what it means, But after reading this purport, we will know why we chant this mantra. And so Devakinandan had to come back. And he fell at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj. But why he fell at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj is very important. This verse Maharaj writes in 9:5-14 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho anantadashanam mahadvam drishna madhyame krita gasopi yadrajan mangalani samihase. 9:5-14. And the meaning is very nice. The meaning is, oh dear king, today I have experienced the greatness of devotees. He says, today I have experienced the greatness of devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? He gives the reason. He says, although I have committed an offense, you have prayed for my good fortune. Maharaj said, this one line defines a Vaishnava. This is the line that defines the behavior of a devotee. For all the study of Bhagavatam, this is the final conclusion of how to behave. That even though people commit offenses to a devotee, the devotee always means them well. He always means them well. Never means them ill. Never puts a grudge in the heart. 100 times or so, they know. Maharaj said people who harass others, they know they are harassing others. They know it. Sometimes they take pleasure in it. Sometimes they don't. But they do know it. They know it. And they don't expect that Vaishnavas keep coming back, giving chance. And Ambrish Maharaj, he did not sit down and have nice prasadam for 1 year, let him run around for his yatra and come back. He didn't think that way. He also fasted. And when he came back, this is the reason. So this is why Brahmaji says in the purport that Vaishnavas are very kind. Even though people bewildered may hurt us, may criticize us, may say bad things about us, it doesn't matter. What we should do is, we should reciprocate their offensive mentality with service, compassion, and try our best to see what we can do to serve them or to give them Krishna consciousness. That's the best thing we can do. And that is why this verse is so important. And Maharaj said that even if we can't help somebody, we can always pray for their good fortune. Because Maharaj said prayers go a long, long way. They're very deep. They go very far. They may not touch our hearts immediately, but they will drop a seed in our hearts, and the seeds will grow. How many times Maharaj prayed for our good fortune when we never heard him? So many times. I know personally, so many times I did not hear Maharaj. But I always felt that Maharaj was praying for my good fortune. Good fortune doesn't mean that bank balance increases, wife, children. That is not good fortune. Good fortune means that somehow or another, despite all the difficulties of our material existence, by the mercy of Guru, we are somehow or another going on with devotion service. And we are trying to spread devotion service. The spiritual master's greatest satisfaction is in the obedience to the instructions that he has given and to the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Nothing else will make a spiritual master more happy. Jai Grindara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Mahavishnu Goswami Gurudev ki Jai.